Hello, my name is Layla Heron Basic, and I am currently a student attending Macomb Community College for my Associates in General Business. I'm excited to be here today for this online interview, and I'm eager to share my thoughts and experiences. I believe this interview is going to be a great opportunity for me to learn and grow, and I'm looking forward for this conversation. So thank you for having me. Today I will be answering basic interview skill set number 3. Number 1, why do you want this job? Thank you for asking. I am excited about this job because it aligns well with my skills, my interests, and my career goals. I have done my own research on the company and I am impressed by its missions, values, and the overall positive impact it has on the industry. I feel that the job description also resonates with me as it involves working on challenging projects and collaborating with a team of professionals in a dynamic environment. I believe this job will not only provide me with valuable experiences, as well as the opportunity to learn and grow within my field. Um, Overall, I am excited about the possibility of contributing to the success of the company and making a meaningful difference. Question number 2, what are you looking for in a position? As a student, I'm currently looking for a position that will allow me to apply my knowledge and skills while also providing me with opportunities for growth and development. Ideally, I am seeking a position that offers challenging and meaningful work that will enable me to learn and develop new skills while also allowing me to contribute to the success of the company. I am also interested in a position that provides a supportive and collaborative work environment where I can work alongside professionals who are also dedicated in their craft and committed to making a positive overall impact. Ultimately, I'm just looking for a company, for a position in specific that aligns with my career goals and aspirations and allows me to make a valuable contribution while also learning and growing with the professionals. Question number 3, what are your strengths? I believe that I have several strengths that would be very valuable to this position. Firstly, I'm a natural leader who likes to take charge of projects and leading them towards success. I am also confident in my decision-making skills and am not afraid to take calculated risks to achieve my goals. Secondly, I believe I am highly motivated and driven, always pushing myself to achieve more and constantly seeking new opportunities for growth and development. I think I am a strong communicator and enjoy networking with others, which has allowed me to, I believe, build a professional network and establish valuable connections with myself. But lastly, I also believe that I am very adaptable and able to work well under pressure. Often, I believe I thrive well in fast paced environments and dynamic environments. I noticed that when I was working in a restaurant, I really did like the challenge of working with the pace and learning how to go with the fast pace. So, overall, I believe my natural leadership skills, my motivation, communication abilities, and my adaptability make a strong candidate for this position. Number 4, what are my weaknesses? One weakness I have noticed within myself is that I tend to be a perfectionist. While striving for excellence, it's important. It can also lead to spending too much time on a task or being overly critical of my work, which can really slow down the process or cause unnecessary stress, which is really true. I will stress about the most unnecessary things sometimes when I don't need to be. And I've learned over time to recognize when I am being overly perfectionistic and to prioritize that time and energy. Instead of focusing on what I could do differently, I'd focus on productivity and efficiency, and that helps get my mind off of it. Additionally, I am continually working to improve my time management skills. Sometimes I struggle with balancing multiple tasks and projects simultaneously. Like I said, I get stressed. I'm a perfectionist. I want the time to be able to do everything right. And if I feel like I don't have enough time to do something right, I will get a little nervous. So, to address these issues with time management, I have implemented various strategies, such as creating a schedule and breaking down large projects into smaller, more manageable tasks. Overall, I have a little hair on my face. While I am aware of my weaknesses, I am always seeking ways to improve and am overcome them to become a more effective and efficient worker, which is really true. Overall, I do have some weaknesses, but I always am continuing to work on it, and I'm always put in positions where I am forced to work on it and forced to see it there. So I do like to say that those are I am an efficient worker nonetheless. Number 5, how would coworkers describe you? I believe my coworkers would describe me as a dedicated and collaborative team member who is committed to achieving their shared goals. I like to place a strong emphasis on communication and teamwork. I always strive to ensure that everyone is on the same page and working together effectively. That's where my little leadership skills come in, and I want to take hand and be a perfectionist. I am also known for my positive attitude and enthusiasm, which helps to motivate and energize my colleagues. I feel like a little bit of boost of energy helps people get a little bit of stress off their shoulders when they're working in a group setting, that's for sure. I am someone who is dependable and reliable, always following through on my commitments and taking ownership of my work. Overall, I believe my coworkers would describe me as someone who is easy to work with, who contributes to a positive and supportive work environment, and who is dedicated to achieving success as a team. I have now answered all of the basic skills set questions number 3. I will now be answering the basic interview skill set number 7 questions. Number 1, why is your GPA low? Well, I appreciate the opportunity to address my low GPA. While my academic performance may not be reflective of my true potential, I would like to provide some context for my grades. I'm currently working a full-time job as well as juggling school full-time. I can acknowledge that I may have struggled with time management, which I did mention in my weaknesses, and study strategies in the past, which may have impacted my academic performance. However, I have taken steps to improve in these areas, such as seeking out tutoring or academic support, implementing more effective study strategies, and prioritizing my time more efficiently. Definitely focusing more time on school and focusing more time on managing it. I am committed to improving my academic performance and believe that my work experience, extracurricular activities, my personal qualities, such as my leadership and my communication skills, demonstrate that my potential as a valuable asset to this organization does not demonstrate through my GPA. I hope that my enthusiasm and my dedication in this field and the way I express myself will be taken into consideration when I'm being evaluated by candidacy for this position. Number 2, tell me about your schooling. Currently, I am enrolled as a full-time student at Macomb Community College, pursuing my associate's degree in general business, all online. The online format has the flexibility to balance my coursework with other commitments, including work experience and my extracurricular activities, so I wouldn't have a problem balancing work and school. I have been able to maintain a strong GPA and develop my skills in a range of business-related subjects, including marketing, accounting, and management. In addition to my coursework, I have also been involved in a variety of extracurricular activities in my past. I used to be a student council president my senior year of high school, which is not relevant now, but I believe that is a great representation of who I am as a person. I was also a member of our National Honor Society, and I did several community service opportunities. I believe that allowed me to gain valuable leadership experience and develop my interpersonal skills. Through my education, my extracurricular activities, I have developed a strong understanding, I believe, of the principles of business, and I'm confident that I have the skills and knowledge necessary to contribute to this organization. Number 3, how does your experience or education relate to this job? Well, as a student pursuing her associate's degree in general business, I have developed a strong foundation of knowledge in a range of business-related subjects, including marketing, accounting, management, and more. Additionally, I have gained practical experience through internships and part-time jobs, which have allowed me to apply these concepts in real-world settings. I believe that this combination of academic and practical experience has equipped me with the skills and knowledge necessary to be successful for this role, definitely. Specifically, my education and my experience have prepared me to excel in time management as well as my organization skills. I have developed communication and interpersonal skills through my coursework as well, and have honed these skills through my experience in office management. I was once an office manager for about 5 to 6 months. So I was able to learn a lot through my communication and interpersonal skills through that as well. Additionally, I have demonstrated my ability to responsibly ensure financial objectives are met by preparing the annual budget for the office, planning the expenditures, analyzing variances, and carrying out necessary corrections that may arise, which further highlight my qualifications for this position. In my previous job, I handled our payroll. I handled a lot of the payments with the customers. I handled refunds. I handled all of the expenditures and financial stuff. I also handled our pay sheets as well as kept data on all of the sheets. So overall, I am confident that my education experience have prepared me to be an asset for this organization. So I'm excited for this opportunity to apply my skills and knowledge to this role. Number 4, I've asked you a lot of questions. Now, do you have any questions for me? I certainly do, actually. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to ask you some questions. I'm actually quite curious about the company culture here. Could you tell me a bit about what it's like to work for this organization? Also, I'm interested in opportunities for professional development and growth. So, are there any specific training programs or mentorship opportunities available to employees? Lastly, I would also like to learn about the team I'll be working with. Could you tell me a little bit about the makeup of the team and the roles and responsibilities of each member? Again, thank you for your time and consideration. I will be looking forward to hearing your thoughts. I am moving on to my next set of questions. I will now be answering behavioral interview topical area goal setting questions. Number 1, give me an example of an important goal that you have set and tell me how you reached it. One of the most important goals I have set for myself was to improve my public speaking skills. As someone who used to and still sometimes does, I struggle with nervousness and anxiety when speaking in front of other people in a large crowd. In front of a camera, not that difficult, but when it comes to speaking in front of people, I still to this day get a little bit nervous, even though I am a grown woman. But to achieve this goal of mastering the skills and developing better skills for these personal and professional growth, I took it step by step. I sought out opportunities to practice my public speaking. I volunteered to give presentations whenever I was in a group project. I volunteered to be the leader of the group project. Those kind of opportunities and experiences helped me gain, I believe, more comfortable with speaking in front of others and helped me, it gave me valuable feedback on areas to improve. I also invested time in studying effective public speaking techniques and strategies. I read books on the topic. I watched those TED Talks about public speaking. And I also I watched presentations online. I read on the topic. I actually joined quite a couple of online interviews, not interviews, but those calls that they would have where you can join and you can listen to someone speak, almost like a TED Talk, but online. Joined plenty of those talking about how do I learn to public speak? How do I learn to talk to people better? Because I get so awkward and I get so bunched up and sometimes I don't even know how to express my words. I just everything wants to come out. I blabber, and so I had to learn to research it and learn on the art of public speaking so that it brought more confidence. So through my consistent practice in my study, I was able to achieve my goal of becoming more confident and effective at public speaking. This skill has not only helped me in my professional life, but also in my personal relationships and community involvement. Overall, I hope that provides a detailed synopsis of the goals I have set for myself and how I achieve those goals. Tell me about a goal that you have set but you did not reach. That is question number 2. A goal that comes to mind that I set that I did not reach. I attempted to learn the foreign exchange market just a few months ago. I'd always been interested. I've been interested in currency trading and foreign exchange. So I set a goal to learn foreign exchange trade and become knowledgeable of the market within 6 months. Doesn't sound too hard to do. To achieve this goal, I literally enrolled in an online course. I downloaded foreign exchange apps. I communicated and learned from experienced traders. I would get on FaceTime calls, Skype calls with random traders and learn. I would actually got quite far with my learning ability. I was diligent about learning daily, but unfortunately, I did not make as much progress as I had hoped. Looking back at it, I realized that I may have underestimated the amount of time and effort required to learn about foreign exchange and the market itself. I'm a busy student. I have other commitments. I work. I struggle to balance the market's learning with my other responsibilities. So, additionally, I may have not been using the most effective methods for learning the market itself, but I did not seek out additional resources and practices doing trades myself. For example, there are apps that allow you to practice it. And there have been a lot of other additional opportunities I could have done. And unfortunately, I didn't go too far. So I was disappointed that I did not achieve this goal of becoming knowledgeable within 6 months. But I learned some valuable lessons, I believe, about the goal and setting the time management. Um, in the future, I think I plan to approach new goals with a more realistic time frame and plan for staying accountable and seeking out additional resources if needed because I can be a procrastinator with that such. And when it comes to goals, if it's not working, sometimes when it's not working out right away, I tend to quit. And I can't do that. I have to keep seeking out opportunities, additional resources, and definitely hold myself accountable to these goals. So, number 3, tell me about a time when you set and accomplished a short term, a medium term, and a long term goal. What were the differences in your approach to each one? So certainly I would be happy to discuss my experience in achieving a short term, a long term, a medium term goal. A short term goal I had recently set and achieved was to create a workout routine for myself. I used to work out. I worked out about 6 months ago, but I stopped working out because I got lazy and unmotivated. So I wanted to get back into working out because the nicer weather is coming around and I want to feel confident. So to achieve this goal, I first researched different types of exercises and determined which ones worked for me and could realistically incorporate them into my schedule. I wanted to work out 4 days a week. I do not like cardio and I do not like shoulder, chest workouts, the push day workouts, they call it. So, with those in mind and what I wanted to focus on, I created a workout routine and I realistically incorporated it into my schedule. So I wanted to only work out 4 days a week. Plus, I work full time. I do school full time. So honestly, most of the time when I go to the gym, I go at like 10 o'clock at night. I go to the gym really late. So I created a workout plan that included both strength training. And I did create a plan with cardio, but I realized I did not work out for me and set a specific schedule for each day of the week. So that was that for my short-term goal. My medium-term goal, however, was to go to the gym for at least a month. So I haven't even gotten to this goal yet. So to achieve this goal, I make sure to prioritize my workouts in my schedule and I hold myself accountable. Like I mentioned last time, you need to hold yourself accountable. Don't get lazy. Don't procrastinate. You better talk to yourself because you're the only person who can convince yourself to do something. So to achieve this goal, I plan my workouts and my schedule, and I hold myself accountable to going to the gym regularly. I also found a workout buddy, one of my best friends. I got her to somehow work out with me, and to keep me motivated and provide me additional support, I have her do it with me. And it works. It works, and as long as it works, I'm happy with it. But my long-term goal is to incorporate the gym into just my overall daily lifestyle. To achieve this goal, and it's going to be difficult because like I said, sometimes I like to be a quitter. To get myself to going to the gym for a longer period of time, for at least a year, I'm talking about my lifestyle change. I would have to focus on building my healthy habits around my workouts. I would have to start probably packing my gym bag the night before, which I already do. I would have to start meal prepping, healthy snacks and meals, maybe prioritizing rest and recovery. And to keep things from getting boring and to keep things from feeling stagnant, I can also set new fitness goals and challenge myself to those new exercises, maybe to add some freshness and to keep things more exciting. The differences in my approach to achieve these goals were, I believe, largely related to the time frame and the level of complexity. For my short-term goal, I focused on creating a plan that was specific and achievable. For the medium-term goal, I prioritized accountability and support to keep me on track. And for my long-term goal, I emphasized building healthier habits and consistency to ensure that my workouts became an integral part of my daily routine. So I hope this demonstrates my ability to set and achieve goals in different timeframes and level of complexity. And I believe this is the last question of that session. So number 4, give me an example of an important goal that you have set and tell me about your progress and success in reaching that goal. So as a student, I realized that I needed to become more financially responsible and learn to budget my expenses effectively. I need to learn that. I needed to. I noticed that my spending habits were crazy. I don't know where they came from. I feel like I am like the richest person in the world the way I want to spend my money. I want to go out to eat. I want to buy food constantly. I needed to get my financial habits in check before I even have my own dang house. Because what happens there? I set a goal. So I set a goal to learn how to budget my money, how to save more effectively, how to avoid unnecessary expenses. I set a goal because I need to learn that before I'm 20 years old. To achieve this goal, I started doing research on personal finance and budgeting strategies. So I've read books, I watched videos, I spoke to financial experts. When I say financial experts, I spoke to people involved within companies like mortgage and involved in insurance companies. I spoke to people who were running their own companies so they can help me with financial advice, that kind of stuff, so I can understand the fundamentals of budgeting. It was to become more knowledgeable. So I then set up a spreadsheet of my income and my expenses. So I started tracking what I was spending my money on, and I was tracking how much money was coming in, how much was going out daily. And that in itself is not something you want to see. Something that you don't even realize you spend half of your money on some of that stuff. You don't even think about it. You forget that you spend your money on that stuff. So anyways, I made it so I could see where my money was going. And this helped me identify areas that I could cut back on my expenses and save more effectively. That's for dang sure. So to reinforce my learning, I also started attending financial planning workshops and seminars online. Seminars, that's what I was trying to talk about earlier. Seminars are when you go online, you join someone and they talk and you just listen and you take notes and you take what they say. I joined financial advisors seminars and I would just listen to people. There were like people on TikTok who would say, hey, I have these seminars, and I think they can help you guys learn some little financial hacks and I would join those so that they could teach me a little bit more. It provided additional guidance, provided additional support. Forgive me. So over time, I was able to learn to stick with a budget. It's not fun, it's boring. But it taught me to save more effectively and avoid unnecessary expenses. So I'm really happy about that. I believe that I made progress and I was more successful with achieving this goal. And it gave me a sense of financial independence and freedom. And empowered me to take control of my financial future. Because one thing about money is I feel like it's really easy to feel powerless against money. And that is something that I have a problem with. So it taught me a lot about taking control of my expenses and feeling I have power over this monetary value, right? So I hope this description of my goal settings for my budgeting, I hope that explains how I set my goals and how I go about my goals. How do I approach to achieving them? So last but not least, I will be answering the business case interview questions. Imagine you are the head of a large corporation. Your company must build a new paper plant. You must decide what country to build the plant in. What factors would you consider? So, as the head of a large corporation tasked with building a new paper plant, hypothetically, I would consider Probably a range of factors when making an informed decision on what country I would want to build in. I think some of the key factors are political instability, number one. It is crucial to consider the political instability of the country, as an unstable political work environment. It can cause uncertainties in the business operations, and that's a no-no. Number two, their regulatory environment. We need to understand the environmental sustainability, the labor laws, and the taxation policies of the country. Number three, the access to the raw materials. We're running a paper plant, so we need access to wood. And if we don't have that much access, how much is that access going to cost too? What is our availability to it? So that's a third thing against with political instability and regulatory environment, your access to wood and your access to other raw materials. Number four is the infrastructure itself. The transportation expenses, communication, energy networks. A well-developed infrastructure would help with the efficiencies in supply chain management and reduce operational costs. So that's really, and infrastructure is also really important. Number five, the workforce itself. Is it a skilled workforce? Are we applying engineers, technicians? Are we applying other personnel required for the operation of this plant? How much is it costing? We need to look into that as well. And last, finally, I would then consider the market access of the country. I would consider the potential customers, what are our distributors, what are our suppliers, and this is crucial. This is probably one of the most important steps, I would say, when you're determining where you would want to go in a country, is your market access and who is your demographic, where are your suppliers, and how much does that stuff cost? That's such a big thing with running a business. I love that, I keep tapping my fingers. I worked for a small housekeeping business. I was an office manager, and that in itself, market access was like one of the biggest things she taught me on every dang day. So I believe it's a really crucial step in determining the potential profitability of your paper plant. So to consider these factors, as well as many others, of course, I would make an informed decision based on those, on the best country to build the paper plant in, with the aim of maximizing profitability and ensuring that long-term success is made for the corporation overall. So that is question number one. Question number two, if a big healthcare company hired you to determine a strategy for improving profitability through growth, the company hopes to reach its goal in 3 years, what would you advise? If a big healthcare company hired me to determine a strategy for improving profitability through growth with the goal of achieving it within 3 years, I think I would advise that your first step would be to conduct a thorough market analysis. Again, like I mentioned the first one, identify your growth opportunities in the healthcare sector in specific, because we are talking about the healthcare company. This would involve assessing your market trends. It would involve analyzing your competition. It would involve identifying potential areas for expansion. That would probably be your first step of improving profitability for the healthcare system. I think your second step should be to conduct an analysis of the company's existing products and services to identify areas where growth can be maximized. This would involve identifying any gaps or even identifying opportunities for new product development. I believe keeping your eyes open and keeping an open mind is really important. I would also then explore your strategic partnerships with other companies in the healthcare sector. So these partnerships would also include joint ventures, the acquisitions or collaborations with other companies to expand the company's reach and expertise. So to implement these strategies, the healthcare company would achieve its goal of improving profitability, I believe, within 3 years of its goals. It would require, however, a lot of effort. It would require a concerted effort, a lot of focus, a lot of resources to ensure that it's executed effectively. But if you are able to execute effectively, if you are able to provide that effort, then I believe you can get to it in within 3 years. So that is question number two. Question number three is New Technological Media is an internet provider that has had 3 straight quarters of high profit gains, which is awesome. Good for them. But it followed by a 50% drop in profits this quarter. So what happened here? If New Technological Media, an internet provider, has had 3 straight quarters of high profit gains followed by a 50% drop this quarter, I mean, there could be several possible reasons for this, but I believe that one reason, it's possible that the market for internet providers is becoming saturated. Number of competitors may be increasing. More people might be getting into this market and offering similar services. So that can increase price competition, and it can make it more difficult for new technological media, to maintain its profit margins. I believe another reason why their profits went down could probably be an economic downturn. If the economy is struggling, which our economy isn't the best, but if our economy is struggling, consumers may be cutting back on their spending, which you do see it quite often. I worked in a restaurant, and when I noticed that the economy was not doing so well, so was the restaurant. You have to connect those dots. So that can impact, definitely, I feel like it can impact the new technological media sales and their profit margin. Another possibility maybe could be a technological disruption. Maybe a new internet provider has came in with more advanced technology, which created competitiveness and taken away some customers. That could also be a reason why their profit went down. It's also possible for their internal factors of the company to affect profitability. Usually it's not the case. Usually it's the customers, but I believe the internal factors can also do something to it. For example, management changes, operational issues, or financial mismanagement could also be just contributing to this sudden drop. So determine the exact cause of the drop in profits. A more thorough analysis of the company's financial statements, market conditions, and internal operations would probably be required. So nonetheless, there's probably several factors that could have contributed to the sudden drop in profits for new technological media. We're going to move on to question number 4, but we're going to move into a new area if we do not mind, only because my mother is about to be home and she will interrupt this service call. So hopefully we've been enjoying this interview so far. Hopefully we've been enjoying my answers to these questions. We are moving now to my room. Okay. So number 4, imagine you are, forgive me, I have to set up the computer now. Number 4, okay. Imagine you are the manufacturer of toys, and you have a product that costs $1,000 USD. Estimate how many of those you can sell in Hong Kong. So to estimate the amount of toys that I could sell in Hong Kong, and it costs $1,000 for the manufacturing of these toys, there are probably several factors I would have to consider. I think the first step I would have to identify is the market, the target market for the toy. Specifically, is it a toy aimed at young children? Is it a toy aimed at teenagers? Forgive me. Is it a luxury toy or is it an affordable toy? The demographic and the pricing definitely has an impact on what we would price it. The next step would be to evaluate the competition in the Hong Kong market. So are there similar products available? If so, what is their pricing? We would have to pay attention to the pricing of those products as well, to make sure that our competition isn't extreme. I think another marketing strategy for the toy is also critical in determining the sales estimates. So, for example, how will the toy be advertised? How will it be promoted? Will there be any discounts? Will there be any sales promotions? We also have to consider that as a factor when determining these sales estimates. So another factor to consider in this distribution channels for this toy. Will it be sold in stores? Will it be sold online? Or will it be sold both? This is a factor to consider, and I believe this is a really important factor to consider because each one makes a huge difference in your profits, and it also makes a difference in how much you're going to invest in that. So, though each of those will have a consideration, your marketing strategy, the competition, what is the toy aimed at, the distribution channels, given these factors, I believe it's difficult to kind of estimate the exact number of toys that you can sell in Hong Kong. But if there is little competition, if there is a robust marketing strategy, an effective distribution channel, then I think it is possible to sell a substantial number of toys. So a market research study could provide I also listed that a market research study could also provide a more accurate estimate of the potential demand. If they keep data on their sales and they keep data on other sales in their other countries as well, I feel like that can also provide a good enough analysis of what if they will sell in Hong Kong. Question number 5. Imagine you are taking a trip to Indonesia tomorrow to work for a company for a short period of time. You don't know anything about this firm, but you are provided with a financial statement of this firm from last year. How do you get the general idea of the firm's health condition, given that you only have 1 hour to report to your boss? If I only had 1 hour to analyze the financial statement of the company and provide my opinion to my boss, I think the first thing I would do is analyze the company's financial ratios, such as liquidity ratios and liquidity ratios, profitability ratios, and solvency ratios. So by doing so, I would be able to assess the company's financial health and performance over the last year and over the previous years as well. I would then analyze the company's income statement to understand its revenue streams, its expenses, and its net income. This would help me understand the company's financial performance and identify any areas that may require further investigation. I would also review the company's balance sheet to assess its assets, liabilities, and its equity. So this would provide me insight into the company's financial position and the level of risk involved. But lastly, I would also assess the company's cash flow statements to understand its cash inflows and outflows over the last year. I think this would also provide you insight in the company's liquidity. Forgive me for pronouncing that wrong, and cash management practices. So based on my analysis, what I think could help the business provide an analysis on the financial statement. So based on that analysis, I think it would be able to provide a general opinion on the company's financial health and its condition within the given time frame. But however, I believe that if I wanted to provide a more comprehensive and detailed report, I would need more time to conduct a thorough analysis and gain a better understanding of the company's operations, the company's management systems, and specifically its industry. So that is my answer to question number 5. We are moving on to question number 6. How would you go about advising a bank if it should implement an ATM system? If I were advising a bank on whether it should implement an ATM system, I would conduct market research to understand our current ATM trends, the demand for our ATM services, and the competitive landscape. How many other places have ATMs? How many places lack ATMs? Will we market off of this? This would involve analyzing the consumer's behavior towards ATM usage and gathering information on the current ATM providers, their features, and also considering their pricing models. I would then identify the bank's needs by assessing their current operations, so assessing their financial goals and assessing their customer base. So this would help me understand if an ATM system would be suitable, and it would be a suitable addition to the bank's offerings as if it aligns with their long-term strategy. I would also, along learning about their operations, their financial goals, learning market trends, I would also evaluate the costs and the benefits of implementing the ATM system overall. This is a basic one, but it involves analyzing the upfront costs of purchasing the machines and installing them, and the ongoing maintenance costs as well. There's a lot that goes on to that as well. So as you would have to assess the pricing. You would also have to assess maybe the potential benefits. Do you think it's going to earn you more money than it costs you? If you think that you will earn more than it will cost you and it's gaining you more than it's hurting you, then I believe that it's a good system to implement your ATM system. So overall, advising a bank on the implementation of the ATM system requires a thorough understanding of your market trends. It requires an understanding of the bank's needs. It requires an understanding of the cost and benefits of the system. By following these steps, I think it would be able to provide you a comprehensive and informed recommendation to the bank. So that is my answer for question 6. My question 7, please discuss the economics of a gym. Funny, I was talking about gym earlier. A gym's a business, I think, that provides fitness-related services in exchange. Well, it's fitness-related service to its customers in exchange for payment. The economics of a gym, I believe, involves understanding. And I believe when you understand the economics of anything, you have to understand the costs associated with operating the gym, as well as the revenue streams. How much are they earning? How much are they losing? I feel like that's like the biggest thing. Working as a manager for an office, that was the biggest thing. Learning what contributes to the gym's overall profitability would be a really important aspect of learning the economics. Forgive me, someone is calling me, so I do have to hang up on that. One of the primary costs associated with running a gym is the cost of equipment. This includes weights, cardio machines, resistance bands, and other fitness equipment. Other costs include rent or mortgage payments for the gym space, utility bills, and the maintenance costs, salaries for the gym employees. Not only are you going to have to be spending money on equipment, not only will you be spending money on just keeping the business open, you are also spending money on the gym space, utility bills, maintenance costs, everything. And that is what I mean by, are they earning more than they're spending? That's a big thing. So to generate revenue, they'll typically charge a membership for fees, and they will cost you probably around $10 to $50, depending on what gym and what luxuries you would like with the gym. These fees are structured in different ways, such as monthly or annual subscriptions or pay-per-use fees. Gyms may also generate revenue through additional services, such as personal training classes or selling fitness-related merchandise. Gyms may also benefit from the economy itself. If more customers join the gym, the cost per customer decreases, and then making it easier for you to be able to go to the gym and for the gym to generate profits, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So overall, the economics of a gym involves balancing the cost of operating the business with the revenue generated from the customer memberships and other services. So by carefully managing expenses and optimizing revenue streams, gyms can probably become very profitable and become very sustainable businesses in the long term if they pay attention to all of those categories. So I am done with question number 7. We are moving to question number 8. You are the consultant of a bank. Give some quantitative measures that can tell about the productivity of the operations department. So, as a consultant for a bank, there are several quantitative measures that can be used to evaluate the productivity in the operations department. I think a few examples would include your turnaround time. So this is the amount of time that it would take for the operations department to complete a task or process. By measuring the turnaround time for various tasks, you can get a sense of how efficient the operations department is at completing its work. Another thing would be probably the error rates. Another quantitative measure of productivity is the error rate of the operations department. So this can include errors such as incorrect data entry, missed deadlines, or other mistakes that can impact the bank's operations. We have our cost per transaction that can also affect. That is another qualitative measure. These metrics can help assess the cost effectiveness of the operations department. So by calculating the cost per transaction, the bank can identify areas where cost-saving measures may be necessary. We have our transaction volume. The volume of transactions processed by the operations department is another qualitative measure. Monitoring the transaction volume, the bank can identify trends in demand and allocate resources accordingly. So alongside your turnaround time, alongside the error rates, your cost per transaction, your transaction volume, last but not least, you have to worry about customer satisfaction. While not a strictly quantitative measure, customer satisfaction surveys can provide valuable insights and effectiveness. I know that when I was working for my office position, I was working as an office manager. I remember that I did send feedback to plenty of customers, and receiving that feedback is incredibly important. And I think it provides you insight of what the customers want specifically and what the customers think you are lacking in their services. So by gathering the feedback from these customers, the bank can identify areas where improvements may be necessary to improve the overall satisfaction of the customers. So overall, these quantitative measures can help the bank's consultants assess the productivity of the operations department and identify areas for improvement. Last but not least, we are on to our last question. A company dealing with a commodity product is thinking about expanding internationally. If its labor costs are competitive with industry standards, what issues might influence this decision? So expanding internationally is a big decision, obviously, for any company. There are probably several issues that should be considered when you're making such a decision. A few issues that might influence the company's decision, assuming their labor costs are already competitive with the industry standards. I think one of the most important factors to consider is whether there is a demand for the company's product in the international market. So whether or not there is a demand, whether or not customers want the product. The company needs to conduct market research. They need to research and determine whether or not there is demand and to justify that expansion for perhaps. So the company will also need to research not only market research, but they will also need to research the level of competition in the international market. So they need to determine whether they can compete effectively against local competitors or whether the market is already saturated, so it's already been used up and they can't unfortunately make profit. So alongside the competition, alongside the market factors and the demand, you need to pay attention to the different countries and their regulatory requirements. They have laws and regulations as well, so you have to pay attention to laws and regulations so that you don't get fines and you don't get criminal charges. Alongside that, you also need to pay attention. There's a lot of things to pay attention to. You also need to pay attention to the infrastructure of the target country. So pay attention to transportation, communication, logistical considerations. All of this, your transportation, your laws, the requirements, competition, the market, as well as the demand, all of that will be playing into the factor of will I be able to expand my company internationally? So these are just a few of the issues. These aren't all of them, but there are just a few that you would have to consider when deciding to expand internationally. So ultimately, the decision will depend on a careful analysis of the costs and benefits of such an expansion, but taking into account all of the relevant factors. We have finished our questions. Thank you so much for this opportunity to discuss my qualifications and my experiences with you. I am very excited about the idea of joining this organization, and I am very confident that my goals, my skills, my strengths, and my annoying speaking skills will make me a strong candidate as well. So I'm very excited and interested in this opportunity, and I would love to hear more about the next steps in this process. So please, thank you again for your time and consideration. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Goodbye. Thank you.